Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing another reflection, this time for Alan Wake 2. Like my other reflections, this one isn't really scripted. It's kind of like a review. I don't give a score or anything like that. I just really just talk about what I liked about the game, what I didn't. Pretty much a reflection. So let's just talk about Alan Wake 2 for a minute. So I played the first one. They remastered it. I think that's what it was. They remastered it on the PS5. I think in like 2021, and then they announced an Alan Wake 2. So they said that this game, the first game, was more like an adventure, action adventure game. You pretty much still do the same thing. This is Alan Wake right here that I'm playing as. You go around, flashlight on shadows, stuff like that. This game is a lot different. So this game, for the first thing, that it has two playable characters. So obviously you still play as Alan Wake, but you also play as an FBI detective, Saga Anderson. Um, and she is, from what I gathered from the story, she is investigating like a cult called Cult of the Tree. That's kind of like going around, it's like a regular cult. They go around and kill people, enlist people into the cult, and they're being led by the entity known as Scratch. So I think in the first game he's like a evil version, very powerful, like taking they like I don't even know how to describe them. They're like supernatural creatures because you can see they're just like shadows and stuff. But like Scratch is like the boss of them. He's super powerful. There's like a reality, they call it the dark place. That's where we're at right now with Alan Wake. And in the game, you switch between both him and Saga, and they have their own little narrative, but it all intertwines together. Saga's more, more. She's more in reality for most part. At the end, she gets towards in the dark place, and then Alan Wake is in a dark place. He's in his own like reality that he's writing because he's a writer, and he writes all the events that happens in this game. So yeah, this game, the story is very, very interesting, very different. It's not a normal type of story like they tell in other games. Like you have to actually be kind of paying attention to a lot of things. There's a lot of collectibles and stuff like that, that you can pick up, and they'll explain more of the story. So I guess I'll go into individual characters. So Saga, as you know, she's an FBI agent. If you pause the game, you have your map, but if you pause the game, she has what's called her mind space or mind place, I think. And in there is a lot like your standard crime TV show in NCIS, Law and Order, etc., etc., where you go around, you have a case board, and you can put different clues that you find throughout the game on the board and make deductions. You can profile different characters in her mind space. It'll give you answers and stuff like that. It doesn't really necessarily change the narrative of the story. It just helps you complete certain objectives and stuff like that. So that's her gameplay. Obviously she has different guns, different items to help her fight the Taken and the Cult. Similar to Alan Wake, she has a flashlight as well. If you flash the light on enemies, you actually will break their darkness shield, and then you can actually shoot them. And then Alan Wake. So as you can see, he has a flashlight and a gun. His enemies are different from Saga. I realized that as I get towards the game end of the game. His enemies are mainly shadows, so you can't you can't shoot them. First, you actually have to make them be tangible, pretty much. Some of them will attack you, some of them won't. You'll know they'll have a weapon in their hand. They'll come at you, um, and then you flash a light on them, and then they'll reveal them, and then you can shoot them. Um, and that's pretty much it for their like individual gameplay. And then also Alan Wake also has his own kind of mind space. It's called the writer's room. And similar to Saga, you can go in there and you can change different aspects of the story that he's currently writing. And yeah, you'll change like the scene. They pretty much have like different areas or like different scenes. Like I think this area had it's a little further up. I don't know if I'll get to it in the video by the end of the reflection, but at the end it'll be like, well, this is a murder scene, and then you can put this narrative piece or that narrative piece, and they'll change the actual environment. So it's actually pretty cool. And he also has a flashlight where you can like take the light from an area and bring it to somewhere else, and it'll store it inside of the little light. It's not that flashlight. It's like on his. It's on his back. You could probably see it right there. And that's it for them. So outside of that, I guess we could talk about just overall gameplay. So this game, I haven't gotten to Resident Evil yet. I have Resident Evil Village. I might get the remakes. But this game is a lot like Resident Evil. The previous game was more just go around, shoot enemies. You pretty much have a gun. You'll have some healing items, so on and so forth. But this game, you actually have an inventory system where every item takes up a certain amount of space, and you have to allocate. You have a gun that takes up 3 squares type thing, and you might have health items, and then you have too many health items, so move to another slot. So that's what it is with this game. The enemies, it's more beneficial to kill them with a headshot as opposed to like shoot them in the body or waste more ammo. The ammo is somewhat scarce. I'm pretty sure if you played it on a harder difficulty, I played it on normal, I think. But if you played it on a harder difficulty, you probably have less resources. So you have less health, less bullets, less flares and lights and stuff to help you fight off the cult in the shadows. So yeah, this gameplay is actually really fun. If you're not a big fan of the detective stuff, the beginning part is kind of slow. You're mainly playing with Saga until Alan Wake comes into the story, and her early gameplay is mainly more detective work. So you'll go around, find clues, make deductions and stuff like that. The game has 3 areas, I think. Well, in a reality where you mainly play with Saga, you have 3 areas. You have Cauldron Lake, Watery, and Brightfall. I think is what it is. And then in the dark place, you have it's like a big map where you'll have like the hotel, the plaza, the subway, stuff like that. And so, and each character has like their own little areas that they go to. So that's pretty much it. So yeah, this game. Another thing is this game is I wouldn't necessarily. It's not scary. Um, but it has a lot of jump scares. And I know I didn't record my voice, but those jump scares were taking me out. Like I would be just having a good time, and just something just pops up on the screen. I just be like, oh, and it just be like, man, this is why I don't play horror games. But this was actually not that bad. The thing with this game is it's not necessarily like scary. Like there's not stuff jumping out at you. It's more so, I think, in that attuned to the game just being have like good like audio design. When you walk around these shadows, you actually hear them whisper his name, and they're just saying different stuff. It's just creepy type of thing. Like it's not necessarily to spook you. Someone will come out and just jump and attack you. Like that one, like kind of disappeared. I'll fight it later. It's just like a faster like enemy, but a lot of times you just hear them just talk, and it makes the atmosphere of the game just really like creepy and stuff like that. It's not necessarily scary in a way, but they do have jump scares every now and then, mainly with the different like flashbacks and stuff like that that happens in the story. What else? The game has bosses. You mainly fight them. Actually, I think you fight them all with Saga. Yes, you do. Yeah, you fight them all with Saga. I don't think Alan doesn't even have boss fights. I just thought about that. So mainly he just like going around. He's just trying to find his wife, Alice. But Saga actually has boss fights. So I believe she fights 3 different enemies, and I think she fights Scratch twice. Right? Yeah. Yeah, she fights Scratch twice, and then she fights 3 other enemies. I'm not gonna get into the boss fights. You'll see them in the playthrough if you haven't seen them already. The boss fights are actually really cool. They're really unique. They all have different things about them. First boss was just a big dude with a heavy weapon. Just that's like introducing you to the game. The second boss was like a pair. They're like I think they're like brothers or just friends. I can't remember. And then they just come out one after another, and they have their own unique way of attacking you in a way how you have to defeat them. The third boss was just like a creepy old lady. She was like in the water. The way she died made her. The whole area was like in water and stuff, and you had to like avoid the water for a little bit until you fight her. And then Scratch is Scratch. He just teleported around and stuff like that. The boss was really cool. They work really well with the game. They work really well with like the fear factor and stuff like that, because a lot of them will like pop out and attack you and stuff like that. Um, Yeah, the weapons are really good in this game. I don't think I unlocked all of them. I think mainly for Alan. I think I was missing a gun with him, but I think I got them all with Saga. She had a shotgun, um, like a pistol, and then a crossbow. I love the crossbow, but it just takes too long to reload. And then Alan had his revolver right here. He had a flare gun, and I think he had a hunting rifle. And toward the end, but I never got a chance to actually use it. So yeah, that's really it for the gameplay. It's I mean not the gameplay, the bosses and the combat and stuff like that. Like I said, the beginning is not gonna be very combat heavy. So if you're not into detective stuff or you don't like slow games, you like more action games, the beginning might be kind of rough for you. But I will say after you fight the first boss with Saga and you start getting into more of the story, it starts to pick up a little bit more. You start to get more weapons. You switch to Alan. Alan gets weapons. You fight different enemies and stuff like that. So it gets a little bit better. You just have to get through that initial little hump of like, oh, I'm just going around trying to solve a case with Saga, stuff like that. But after you fight the boss and you figure out that first case, it opens up. It becomes a really great game. Um, what's some things I didn't like? Um, what did I say I didn't like? No, isn't necessarily a critique. I don't know. So maybe I guess the main thing I know is probably because it's a survival horror game, but I know that if you pause the game, unless you actually pause and it shows like load game, save game, the game never actually is paused. So if you open up a map or you're in a mind space, you have to be somewhere safe. You can be inside of a break room where you can save, and then you can open the mind space, or if you're like just anywhere where there are no enemies, because if you're in the mind space or you're looking at the map, they will attack you and it'll take you out of that map of the mind space and then you have to go back into combat. So if you don't like that, if you're not really used to that, yeah, I know Resident Evil does it. That's why I say it's a lot like Resident Evil. But if you're not into that, yeah, that's you're gonna have a hard time with that. Like I said, the slow parts at the beginning. If you don't like all the detective stuff with Saga, or the writing room with Alan, the cutscenes are kind of jarring because, as you can see, this is actually the actual actors, I guess, playing the characters, and then at the next minute it'll actually be the character in-game models, and that might throw some people off too. But I mean, I actually like it because it actually makes it more the story more unique because it's actually a mix of like gameplay, cutscenes, and actual real life actors playing a scene, pretty much type like that. So it's actually really cool. But some people may like that. But as for me, yeah, some of the puzzles, some of the puzzles was kind of annoying. I'm not gonna lie. Those coat stashes, um, actually wanted me to do math problems. I was like, I don't want to do no math. I just like I'm gonna just look that up. Enough I to do no math problem. It was like something. It was like how many wheels. It was like it was like they have like bikes and cars, and bikes have four wheels. I mean, two wheels, and cars have four, and then there's a total of this many bikes. I mean, wheels in the garage. So how many of these wheels? I'm like, no. I'm not doing no math. So I just went in and looked that up. But I mean, some people may not like the puzzles. I didn't do the nursery rhymes. I just didn't understand them at the time, and I was just trying to get through the game. So I might go back and get them later. But yeah, you may not like that. The inventory system, yeah. It's like I said, this is kind of like my first like Resident Evil type of game. So I'm not that used to the inventory system, just trying to manage everything. Because my way of playing games, I like to just go around, just collect as much as I can. But sometimes you can't do that because you don't have enough space for it. So you have to leave a lot of things. It's just more inventory management type of thing. But outside of that, I mean, this is actually a really good game. I mean, I like Alan Wake 1. I was like, shoot, I guess I was probably like Alan Wake 2, but I was not expecting Alan Wake 2 to be such a fun game to play. I love detective shows, so the stuff with Saga didn't really bother me. I like her character. I like Alan, obviously. The story is interesting, intriguing. The way it's told is cool. The fact that you can play with two characters and can switch between the two of them at any point that you want is really cool. Um, I mean, yeah, you could say that the game could have a little bit more combat. The bosses could be a little bit more, have a little bit more going on for them, but I mean, I didn't mind it. It was okay. But overall, yes, I really enjoyed this game. Alan Wake 2 is a great game. If you haven't checked out the walkthrough series, it is on the channel right now. All parts are out. Uh, yeah, really, if you like Resident Evil, if you like horror games, if you like interesting stories, if you like to do some detective work, this game got it all for you. So I would definitely recommend it if you are into those things. If you're not into like all of that, if you're want a little bit more action or stuff like that, maybe this might not be the game for you. But I still say try it out, see if you like it or not. And yeah, that's pretty much my reflection for Alan Wake 2. I guess out of all of the, out of all the newer playthroughs I did, it's one of my favorites. I didn't really have any much issues recording it. It was just I recorded off the PlayStation, so all it was record part done, just move everything between the system and then the computer and edit it. That's all it was. So, yeah, it was a really fun recording to do. So, I hope you guys enjoyed it. But if you guys enjoyed this reflection and you want to see more, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, keep it gaming, guys. I'll check with you later. Take care.